A wonderful morning to everyone who has joined today. From Manage Engine family, we would like to extend our warm welcome and sincere thanks to all our customers, partners, and users who are interested in our solutions. Endpoint management and security is one of the main focus areas of Manage Engine. In today's webinar, we will focus on endpoint management solutions, which has different product portfolios under management and security. During today's session, we will be discussing Desktop Central Suite, which has management and security capabilities. Once again, welcome to Desktop Central Training. Let me introduce myself. My name is James, and I'm a product specialist with Manage Engine. I take care of the endpoint management products, including Desktop Central. I'm a seasoned technical support engineer assisting customers in their implementation, consultation, and troubleshooting in case of any challenges. Let's look at the training schedule. We are on week 4 and we'll be looking through asset management. This is one of the modules of our endpoint management and security suite. We have covered a couple of modules over the past weeks, and we are currently running on week 4 training. In case if you have missed any of our training schedules, you can always view them on the link that is shown at the bottom of the screen. If you are interested in the upcoming training, please use the same link to register yourself. And a good news, we are providing a training participation certificate upon completing the training series successfully. Let's look at the asset management module for today. Let me quickly talk about the agenda. So we will be having an overview of Desktop Central and how the distributed workforce can be handled. And we will also have some scenarios and solutions, as well as, I have some real-time, situations where we identified unauthorized applications and how to manage software license, and most importantly, how to integrate with the other management solution we have. It's called ServiceDesk Plus. Now, to complete this training series, I've created a scenario here where John is responsible for managing distributed workforce. In the picture, what you're seeing right now is the solution for on-prem solution. Desktop Central can be on-premise and as well as on the cloud. So let's consider this customer has multiple locations, say in Sydney, Chennai, London, or Bogota. Where when I say distributed workforce, it includes everything, okay? Even if it's an on-premise solution or cloud, when it comes to distributed workforce, as an IT admin, you all have come to these situations where you manage endpoints within the office, where there is no restrictions, everything is restricted there. And you have work from home users now. And, some of the users connect via VPN, some of them don't. And you might have, roaming users, who will be working on a limited bandwidth, like 512 kbps or lesser than that. Now, and as I said, when you are responsible to manage distributed workforce, considering, work from home users as well as, office users, there are some important things that, come to your mind. Let's say, first thing that you might want to look at is whether the user is connected via VPN. Does he have, good bandwidth? And if he is connected via internet, and let's say he's a roaming user, and some of the things that, the common things that you want to look on is the, whether this particular user is connecting to my server securely, or is he, connecting via VPN, and does it have, any kind of restrictions on his client machines? All that, includes when it comes to managing a workforce, which is distributed all across the globe, even within the country. Now, I've categorized, this workforce distribution when it comes to IT. There are the most commonly used scenarios or the common challenges that every IT administrator faces. Um, Due to this pandemic, I've categorized these scenarios in three ways. Okay, one, work from office, and then you have work from home users, and then let's say we are all vaccinated now, and let's say the companies are bringing back their employees to the office, then you might have to look on the back to office endpoints as well. Now when it's when the user is working from office, you have they'll have all access to their in-house application, and you can plan your updates. Everything will be going on a planned manner. Now when it comes to work from home users, there's so many things that comes to an administrator mind. The first important thing is accessing unauthorized applications or unauthorized tools. You might need extra authentication, like two-factor authentication or SAML authentication. If it's BYOD device, then you might want to take a look on what kind of documents or what kind of application that I'm distributing to these end users. And let's say these users are coming back to the office, and before even having their endpoints connect to your network, you might want to pre-check some of the important things, whether the machine has the proper antivirus install, whether it is up to date, and whether it's restricting any application, does the user has any unauthorized application, whether the machine is completely patched. These are the common IT challenges that you might face with this course of pandemic situation. Now, what is Desktop Central? Desktop Central is an unified endpoint management solution that ensures all your endpoints are secure and enables the user to use them effectively for business. All right. Now, a popular research analyst called Forrester defines UEM as follows: product that provides a centralized policy engine for managing and securing employee laptops and mobile devices from a single console. In unified endpoint management, you certainly manage endpoints in a traditional IT management fashion that includes the patch management, application management, configuration deployment, OS deployment, tools for troubleshooting, and day-to-day management activities. Similarly, endpoints can also be managed with modern management. Now, all modern operating system supports modern management. The features are like geo-tracking, geo-fencing, managing store applications, profile distribution to enforce restriction, operating system reset and recovery. Hence, with Desktop Central Unified Management, you will be able to manage desktops, laptops, mobile phones, tablets, servers, point of sale devices, and including browsers. Browsers are also considered as an endpoint because most of the applications are on cloud right now, and you might want to secure your browser as well. Now you can manage all these from a single console. We support 3 operating systems for now: Windows, Mac, and Linux. Please find the list of supported operating systems on the screen. The application server runs on the Windows platform, but you can manage the endpoint with Windows or Mac or Linux operating systems. In case you have any questions, you can always reach out to support. Please refer to the email address shown at the bottom of the screen. Desktop Central is recognized in 4 top 21 IDC market space reports for UEM. We are also recognized for unified endpoint management in Magic Quadrant by Gartner. Now, these are the features that you can leverage when you're using Desktop Central as a unified endpoint management solution. You can do vulnerability assessment and patching solution for it. application control, where you can restrict applications, where you can do blacklisting as well as whitelisting, web protection and filtering. Device control allows you to manage what devices can be used on an endpoint. And then you have remote desktop management, etc. Our Desktop Central UEM solution is available both on-prem as well as cloud, and it is available for all the managed service providers as well. Now, why do enterprise need asset management? This is the important question that you might ask me during this training session. Now, in order to keep track of all the softwares and hardwares that you manage in your organization, and to optimize usage of software license, and you should be compliant and audit ready at all times, and you might need an in-depth report to cater all your needs. Now, what kind of data is collected during the scan? The scan refers to the agent scan. Yes, Desktop Central is a client-server model application. You have to install an agent in order to manage an endpoint. As I mentioned in the beginning, yes, Desktop Central supports Windows, Mac, and Linux as well. Now, as soon as you install the agent, there's a full scan that happens on the client machine. Let me quickly take you guys back to the console. Now, you can find this setting under the agent settings. And then you have this option called actions to be performed after agent installation. This option is selected by default, perform inventory scanning. So as I said, this is going to be a full inventory scan, okay, a complete scan. Now, what are the data that will be collected during the scan? As you see on the screen, it will collect the hardware information, software details, driver details. Let me show you this on the console itself to better explain, guys. So I'll go to the inventory module here. I'm going to select one of the machines that I manage at the moment. So I'll select the machine's name. As you see here, you will have the complete summary of the server or the machine that you manage, like disk usage, OS summary, service tag, and expiry date will be automatically fetched from the vendor websites through API. And then you will have system information, like services that are running on this machine, user details, group information, driver detail, shares that are used on this machine, and hardware detail, like what kind of hardware being used on this machine, whether the hardware is working okay or not, and then what kind of softwares that are currently installed and used. If you find unauthorized application, you can also have it uninstalled from here. Certificate details, like what kind of certificates being used on this machine, what's their validity, every single information about the certificates will be posted here, okay? And the same can be exported as a report too. So wherever you see this icon, that means you can export this as a report. And file details will tell you what kind of files they have in the machine, like MP3, AVI, JPEG, doc, XLS, like that. And then security information, like what, whether the BitLocker is enabled or not. If it is enabled, then you can also fetch the recovery key from here itself. Antivirus detail, like what kind of antivirus you use, whether if you're using Windows Defender or a third-party antivirus, whether it is enabled or disabled, up to date, what version it uses at the moment. And then you will also have the firewall information, same like whether if you're using Windows Firewall or third-party antivirus firewall. And it will also give you the USB audit, which will show you the complete summary, like what USB device is being used, when was it used, how long they've been using this device, and the complete usage duration. And if you'd like to block the USB usage, you can also use this configuration right here to block the USB ports. And if you'd like to show the end user a message, like whenever they plug in the USB, you can also click this option, USB audit settings. And in here, you have this option called alert settings, enable it, and you can put your own customized message. And this message will be shown to the end user whenever they plug in a USB. Now, let me take you guys back to the console. Now, as I mentioned, I even showed you guys on the console itself. So we fetch hardware, software, certificate information, USB usage. Apart from that, you will also get user logon details and geolocation for modern operating system. Now, guys, this comes under the UEM edition of desktop central license. Okay, and modern management applies to Windows 10 machines as well as the Mac and mobile devices as well. Now, how does the inventory scan works? Remember, I mentioned as soon as you install the agent, there will be a full scan. But let's say you manage 1,000 machines. Okay. Now, once the agent is installed, it's a full scan. But what happens if there is any changes on the agent side? When that will be updated to the server? Do we have to schedule an inventory scan that should happen on a daily basis or a weekly basis? Yes, you have to. So the inventory scan needs to happen on a schedule, but that's entirely up to you. You can define however you want it. So you will go back to the inventory section, and then you have this option called schedule scan, and then you have this option called inventory scan. And here you can configure your schedule. Either you can run it on a weekly basis, daily, or monthly. But what happens on this periodical scan? Is it going to do a full scan? No, it's going to be a differential scan. Okay, so only the differential data will be posted to the server, and this is to avoid bigger data transfer and to avoid network congestion as well. So it is designed in such a way that it should post only the differential data. Now let's quickly resolve one of the situation. Let's say hard disk space issue, which you might face. As an admin, you will face these issues very often, right? Now, how do I resolve these hard disk space issues? Now, when it comes to fixing issue, you have to have a plan. So first thing is you have to get an alert whether the disk is completely used or not, or to a certain percentage that you highlight. And you might want to get a report like the number of machines that exceeds this limit. And once you have the machines like the the host names of the endpoint, you might want to clear all those unwanted files. Now, how do I do this using Desktop Central Console? Let me again take you guys back to the console here. First thing, as I said, you need an alert. So to get this alert under the same inventory section, you have this option called configure alerts. So in this alert, you have this option called disk space. In here, you can mention whether you get an alert for an individual partition or for overall disk space. And you might ask me, like, what would I get in that alert? So these are the details that you will get, like the device name, whether this machine belongs to a remote office, who's the currently logged on user, whether it's belonging to a domain name or a work group, detection time, total capacity, and total free space, all that detail, right? Now, once you have this alert, now as I said, you need an in-depth report on the number of machines that are exceeding this percentage, right? Now, to get that, you can go to this inventory report right here, and you have this option called computers by disk usage. So yes, there is a default report that you can make use of. All right. So you can go to computers by disk usage, right? And I'll show that report in a minute. And in here, you can get the machine's name and their total capacity and free disk space. And you can also get a detailed view here. Click on this detailed view, which will give you the individual disk partitions usage. And the same, as I mentioned, wherever you see this icon, you can export this report as well. The report can be exported to PDF, CSV, or an XLS format. Now that you have this report, now you wanted to remove all these unwanted files. How do I do that? Now we have this functionality called tools. In this tools, you have this option called system tools. Using this system tools, you can do disk defragmentation, cleaning unwanted files. All those tasks can be done. Let me quickly show that option for you. So I go to system tools, add task, and in here I have this option to do the disk cleanup. And in this disk cleanup, after Windows 10 feature pack 1703, there is this new concept called storage sense, which cleans up everything automatically. Okay. But below the version 1703, you have this disk cleanup utility where you have to select everything manually. So what I'm trying to say is we support both, right? So you have, if you have the latest version, simply check this option. If you have an older version, you do have the ability to check everything manually, and then you can deploy this to the selected targets. You can put this, under a defined target, And when it comes to defining target, we give this option to you. You can define however you want it. If you say, I have to put this to my entire domain, you can, right? So you can choose the entire domain name. But if you say, no, not the entire domain, but a specific OU, then you can click this filter icon right here, click this drop down, and you can choose OU. Not only OU, AD sites, AD groups, a specific computer name if needed. And within Desktop Central, we also have this option called custom group. It's available right here. Let me duplicate this page. So you can find this setting under admin, custom group. And in here, you can create multiple groups based on computers or user. And that group can also be defined here as a target. Okay. And you can deploy based on IP address, IP range, or even if you say I have to put this to only Windows 10 machines, then choose operating system and choose Windows 10. And not just one target, guys, you can have multiple targets selected in a single deployment, right? So this is how you do the cleaning activity. Now, let me quickly take you back to the presentation again. Hope what I'm explaining is clear to you guys. If you have any questions, please use the chat window to get all your answers. Okay, we have an expert panel who's ready to answer all your questions. Now, the next scenario is managing and identifying work from home endpoints. Now, this is very important. Now, considering all these, COVID pandemic situation, most of us are working from home, and now most of us are returning back to the office as well. So now this is very important when it comes to managing an endpoint. So how do you identify work from home endpoints? And before even going through that part, I will also, I'm obliged to tell you guys about a component called Secure Gateway Server, because, with the recent attacks, we are recommending all our users to use this Secure Gateway, because this will give you an additional security layer when you are managing an endpoint that is not in your network, like work from home users. Now, uh, what does this do? Because and why do we need this? So, when you are managing an endpoint, consider you have the Desktop Central on-premise solution, right? And remember, I mentioned in the beginning, Desktop Central is a client server model application. So you install the agent, and the agent has to communicate back to the server for the functionalities to work. That's very common. Now, the agent uses three address. Okay, so the sequence is like, agent will use the host name of the server, and if host name fails, then it will use the local IP address of the server. If local IP fails, then it needs a secondary address. Secondary address is nothing but the public FQDN or the public IP, right? Now, when I say public address, that means you're basically going to do a NAT if you're going with on-prem solution. If it's cloud, just ignore this part. If it's on-prem, then obviously you are going to do a NAT. Let's say you have a public address configured. Let's say you have an address called manageengine.com. You have done a NAT saying any traffic that goes to manageengine.com should get routed to the local IP of my Desktop Central server on these predefined inbound ports. Okay, this is done. Now the agent knows that there's a secondary address as well. So the sequence goes in the same manner. Let's say you have a user inside the office. Same manner, host name, obviously it will resolve because the end client is within the office. And even if that fails, local IP should resolve. Now the same user is now working from home. Now again, if they're connected via VPN, then it is fine. Host name and local IP should resolve. If they're not connected via VPN, if they are using their own Wi-Fi, now host name will fail. Eventually, local IP will also fail, but the secondary address will reach because you already have the NAT setting done. Now, having the public address configured like that is like exposing your server, right, to the internet. We do provide additional securities like two-factor authentication as well as SAML authentication, but we are advising all our customers to have this secure gateway because this will also give you one more security layer. The layer will be like this, okay? Let me quickly show you guys that. Let me take you guys back to the console. Admin. Then I go to sorry guys, secure gateway here. Sorry about that. Let me click on this learn more option. And this is the architecture will look like. So instead of doing a NAT here, exposing your server, you will be having this secure gateway component installed on a Windows machine, and this machine can be placed under the DMZ zone. So you will be doing a NAT here. So any traffic that goes to manageengine.com should get routed to the secure gateway server, okay? And this guy will validate if the traffic is coming from the agent. Once the validation is done, it will be rerouted to the desktop central server. So this way, you're adding one more security layer for managing endpoints outside your network. Now, let me take you guys back to the presentation here. Now, in here, I've got two scenarios for you guys. One is secure gateway server already configured, meaning let's say you're already an user and you already have the secure gateway server, then you don't have to worry about this option, because as I said, the same sequence, host name, local IP, and then secondary address, everything would resolve, even one address fails. But if you're new to the desktop central server and if you do not have the secure gateway, now the agent only knows the host name and local IP. It does not know the secondary address, right? So to update that secondary address details, we have a script available with us, and there's a link at the bottom of the screen. If you go to this link right here, we have an article with the steps provided, and the bat file, the script file, queries, and everything, like the step-by-step instructions are provided in this article. Using this, you can update this setting, this address on the agent side, right? Now, so as I mentioned, you can identify all those endpoints, whether they are working from home, whether they're working, from home, but connecting via distribution server. Distribution server is another component, guys, which is used for efficiently managing your data transfer over the public address. We will discuss about this later on. And you would also want to know whether the agents are communicating directly to my server or through a distribution server. To find out all these, refer to the same article that I mentioned earlier. We will eventually share, we will share this link with you guys. So if you go to this article, we have step-by-step instructions, queries, and the scripts, everything that you need with pictorial representation. Okay, so kindly do refer this article to get to know more about this feature and functionality, right? Now, the next important part when it comes to managing an endpoint, identifying an unauthorized application. This is very important when it comes to managing an endpoint. The reason I'm repeatedly saying this, because most of the vulnerabilities will come through this software installation. If the end user are using any unauthorized application or a third-party application with which does not have a proper certificate, probably a pirated version, or an application that is not supposed to be there on the machine. So how do I identify these, and how do I rectify if they have an unauthorized application? So we've got two options for you guys, okay? I'm not going to go with this presentation now, because I'm going to take you guys back to the console to show you guys real-time example. So we've got two options. One, you do have the option called prohibit software under the inventory section itself. You can go here, create a rule saying that these are the prohibited softwares we normally don't want in our endpoints. So you can go here, add prohibit software, add this in your list. Once it is added, if the end user installs one of these applications that you highlight as a prohibit software, the end user will get an alert. Okay, so the application can also be automatically uninstalled. If you go to this auto uninstall policy, you can enable this option here, and a prompt. You can have your own customized message. Let me quickly take you back, guys, back to the console so that I can show you how the notification will look like on the end user side. Sorry. Now, this is the screenshot of the notification that the end user get. Okay. So whatever the message that you put under there on the console will be shown to the end user here, and the end user, say if he has a valid reason to use his application and he wants to continue use that application, he can also send a request to you. Okay, copying the managers and their message. Once they click on send request here, right? So this request will be shown to you here on the console under the user request tab. So in here you will see the request, and in here under the action tab, sorry guys, I do not have an example right now, I'm sorry about that, but in here under the action tab you will see an option called approve or deny. Okay, so if you click on approve, the end user get to use the application. If you deny them, based on your auto uninstallation policy, it will get automatically uninstalled from the client machine. Now this is one option. Now if you ask me, like, is it gonna restrict the user from even installing the application? No, this is only to find an application like an unauthorized application that you highlight and uninstall it after it's being installed. But if you ask me, like, we don't want this, we want an option that should restrict the user from even installing an application, even if it's a portable exe. If they have it on their USB stick or an external hard drive, it should be blocking it. Then we have this add-on called application control. This application control will allow you to go more secure, meaning you can create a rule either for whitelisting or blacklisting. For example, if I go here, create a whitelist, you have the ability to create a rule based on vendor, product name, verified executable, even file hash, folder path, store habs, or a combination of everything, right? So you can create a rule first. Simple example I'll give you. I'm going to go with vendor because I'm going to allow a certain vendor rather than going with a hash value. Okay, because as you know, hash values changes for every update. So I'm going to go with vendor now. So I'm going to choose Adobe, and then I'm going to choose some of the Microsoft application and my antivirus Kaspersky. Now once I create this rule, I have the option to apply this policy to a group of device or to all the computers, meaning this policy can be applied to either all the machines that have the agent installed, or to a group of devices. Okay, so we have this default group called all computers group. You can make use of it, or you can create your own group as well if you have your own preferences. Once you have selected the group, you have to choose your policy, and once you have chosen the policy, you have two modes. One is called strict mode, the other one is called audit mode. Strict mode refers a forceful restriction, meaning let's say you are going to apply this rule right now. Okay, you have got this feature right now and you are going to apply, and in the policy, in the whitelist policy, you have only 10 softwares that are approved, right? But the end user has 15 softwares already installed in that machine. But in that 15, only 10 softwares are approved. Those 5 application, the existing application, we call that as gray listed application. If you choose strict mode, it's going to allow them to use only those 10 applications that are approved. Even the gray listed application and the new applications will be straight away blocked. And when it's getting blocked, it will show this particular message to the end user. If you want to put your own message, you can enter your message here. And if you choose audit mode, this is going to allow them to use the approved software as well as gray listed application, but not the new softwares. Okay, and in here you do have the option to give temporary access. Say for example, if this end user is a manager and he has a valid reason to use an application, but he wants to use this application for a time being only. So you can go to this temporary access, create a policy, choose the computer name, and then you can give a duration, whether it's going to be a fixed window like 8 hours or a week's time, like that, or if you have to go with a window, a specific window, like from today to till next week or next month, you can define however you want it. So this application control will give you more in-depth option to manage your applications. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to application control, you have the ability to either prevent it using this application control itself, or you can use the prohibit software application to highlight the restricted application and have it install if it's when it's being detected in your network. Hope this is clear, guys. If you have any questions, I'll request again. please use the chat window to get all your answers. Let me quickly take you back to the console. Now, the next scenario is managing Office 365 licenses. Now, when it comes to managing software license, I have to be upfront with you guys because Desktop Central does not validate the license of a software because most of the applications are now in cloud. Second, the vendors, they normally have their license file in an encrypted format, so we won't be able to find all this information. However, we have a workaround for you guys. So that is available under the inventory section, and then you have this option called manage license. So this option basically refers to a rule that you can create, saying that this is my application name and version and all that information and the number of license you purchase. Say, for example, if you say I have purchased 100 license for this application. Now, once you create this rule, I've already created a rule here for 7-zip. Now, this will tell you the number of machines, like the total purchase and number of machines that in your network has this application installed. If it goes more than the total purchase, it will give you like under licensed, and it will give you the the remaining count and the number of machines that has this application installed. You can even get an alert when it goes more than the license that you purchased. Same here, configure alerts. You can create an alert for license usage as well, right? Now, in here, you might ask me like within the 7-zip itself, as you see here, I've mentioned it as 7-zip group because multiple endpoints have different versions of the same software. Now, how do we handle this? We handle this by creating all these different versions into a single group. How do I do that? You have to go to this group software, click on add a software group. You can put up a name here and then search for this application. I've already created one, so I'll show that for you guys here. So I'm going to modify the 7-zip here. And then I've selected the version that I have in my network. And I've promoted one of the recent version to act like a parent because I do have this one other option which says add the following versions after, like, the version that you select. After the version, if a new endpoint comes into your network and it has a newer version, whenever a new version, version of the same software comes into the network, it will be automatically added to this group. So you don't have to, manually add this version again and again. So it will be automatically added. Just in here, set a latest version as a parent and choose this option. So any new version that comes in the future, it will be automatically added. And when you create this rule right here, instead of choosing a specific version, you can choose the group that we have created. So I go here, modify. Sorry guys, I'll go back here, manage license. I'll click on add license here. Then here you can find the group that we created as 7-zip group. So you can use this option to group multiple versions of the same software in a single group. This will avoid duplications. Now, the same thing that I mentioned, but using Office 365 license instead of 7-zip. That's the presentation, guys. Sorry about that, but hope my explanation is clear. Even if it's Office 365 or any other application that you manage, we are going to find out the number of network installation. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be honest with you guys on this part because it's not going to validate the software, whether it's valid or a pirated version, all that information, right? Now the next part, integrating Desktop Central with ServiceDesk Plus. Now you will ask me, why do I have to integrate ServiceDesk Plus, and what are those benefits? The first benefit that I can highlight, this is the best one, okay? Because this is all about having the better end user experience when it comes to incident management. The reason that I say this because Desktop Central is a separate application. ServiceDesk Plus is another application. You might ask me like, for doing activities, do I have to switch back and forth between this application and that? No. Once it is integrated, it's going to be a single console for you guys. You don't have to switch back everything will be under a single roof for you. So you can access every desktop central modules, functionalities under the Service Desk Plus itself. So it's going to be like one console that is going to allow you to do all the functionalities that we offer in Desktop Central, like as I mentioned in the beginning, patch management, software deployment, remote control. In when it comes to Service Desk, you can do incident management, change management, complete asset management. Every single activities can be done through this console, right? So whatever that I mentioned, it's all there in the presentation now, guys. Okay. And what are the features? As I said, you get the complete features that we provide under Desktop Central. Simple example. Say, for example, I create a software package here that I would like to deploy to all the client machine. And I've created the software package here. I can use this option here on the Desktop Central console. But if you say, no, I'm not going to use this console, I'm going to have the Service Desk Plus. So you can go here under the Desktop Central module. You can go to the software deployment and you can view the packages and whatever the packages that you created on Desktop Central. And um, and one of the main features in here I would like to highlight, the end user can also send a request from their agent asking for an application, right? So when they request an application, it will be created as an incident on your Service Desk Plus, and within the incident itself, you can deploy this package. You can do some advanced troubleshooting through remote control and all that. Okay. And with the latest version of Service Desk Plus, we are moving with the unified concept, meaning we will be having one agent that will be working all across the Manage Engine products. So if you're going with Service Desk Plus, please make sure that you have the latest version or a version after 11300. Okay. This will give you a better visibility of all the functionalities that we offer in Desktop Central. Now, the architecture, this is a simple example, but before even going to this architecture, I would like to show you guys how this can be integrated. Okay, this is going to be a simple task. You are going to have the APIs generated between, on both Desktop Central as well as Service Desk. Okay, now how do I generate the API? Under the Manage Engine Desktop Central console, you have to go to this admin tab, and you have this option called API key generation. You can click on this option. Since I've already integrated, I see regenerate option. If not, you will see a generate option. Okay. So you copy this key, and then you go to this Service Desk Plus console, and in here, go to the admin tab, and then you have this option called integration. Under the integration, you have the Desktop Central server settings. In here, you have to enter the host name of the Desktop Central server install machine, port that it uses, what protocol uses, whether it uses HTTP or HTTPS, and paste the API key. And then click here, test connection, and save. Once it is saved here, you have to do the same thing. In here, under the user profile section of the Service Desk Plus, you have this option called generate API key. You have to generate a key here as well. You should say never expire, generate. And then once you have the API key generated here, go back to the Desktop Central console, admin. Under the integration, you have this option called Service Desk Plus settings. And in here, you have the ability to add it. Okay, I'm going to modify this just to show you guys. So you can enter the host name of where the Service Desk Plus is installed, port number it uses, and it should use the same protocol guy. If Desktop Central uses HTTP, then Service Desk Plus should also use HTTP. And same the other way as well. If it uses HTTPS, and in here also you have to use HTTPS. And when you are moving with HTTPS, which is recommended, a secured connection, consider having a third-party SSL certificate. Okay, you can even use a wildcard certificate to be uploaded on both the applications. So once it is integrated, that's it, guys. You have the option to choose even like what functionalities that you want to use. If you'd like to limit a certain functionality that you don't want to use it on the Service Desk Plus, you can do that from here. So simple example, if you say I don't want the end user to raise any request from their agent. Simple, uncheck this option, send request. Sorry, um, help desk thing, log help desk request from agent tray icon. So you can simply uncheck this. But if you say I need this feature, enable this, save it. During the next agent refresh cycle, it will be automatically updated to the agent side. Right now, the same here with the presentation. So you need to provide API keys to integrate both the application. Once it is integrated, as I mentioned, we will be using one common unified agent across all the managed engine applications moving forward. So the Service Desk Plus is going to use our desktop central agent. So whenever there's a change, or there's a hardware change or a software change, anything related to inventory, it will be posted to the desktop central server first, and this data will be posted to the Service Desk Plus. Okay, so always agent to desktop central, and then desktop central to Service Desk Plus. Now the final scenario, distributing Wi-Fi profiles to all the Windows 10 laptops. Now this is to show you guys about the modern management capabilities that we offer in Desktop Central. When I say modern management, again, it's straight forward, where you will be doing geo tracking, geo fencing, managing Microsoft Store apps, profile distribution, all this functionality, guys. Okay, Mac has this functionality. Like Mac has released this functionality long back, but Microsoft started providing these functionalities from Windows 10. So I'm going to use a simple example to distribute Wi-Fi profiles. Okay, I'm going to take you guys back to the console again. So I'll go to the mobile device management here. Remember, guys, to use this modern management, you need to have the UEM edition license. Okay, now in here, similar to the agent installation, you have to enroll the device as well. Since we are using unified agent, once the agent is installed on a Windows 10 machine, it will be automatically staged under the enrollment tab, Windows, enroll laptop or Surface Pro. So the device will be staged here. You have to assign a user. Once the user is assigned, let me take you guys back to the game again. Similar to the inventory you get, sorry about that. Let me log in again. Something that you face, during a presentation. Right. So I'll go back to the mobile device management. So similar to the inventory that you get for your desktops here, you will also get the inventory here as well. So if I go to the inventory section, whatever the device that you enroll, even if it's a mobile device, like Androids, iPhones, tablets, Surface Pro, Chromebooks, even Windows 10 machines, right? So once I enroll it, under here, you'll get the complete summary again, like the device summary, installed apps, certificate details, restrictions, geo tracking, and you can also perform all these activities remotely from here. You can initiate a corporate wipe or a complete wipe. Corporate wipe meaning this device belongs to the office, where you enroll the device as a corporate device. Sorry about that. Complete wipe refers to the corporate enrolled devices. Okay, so that it wipes off completely. Corporate wipe is BYOD devices, bring your own devices, where you wipe off only the corporate related information, not their own data, right? So you can do the geo tracking and everything, right? Now, when it comes to management, I'm going to use the same example to distribute Wi-Fi profiles. Simple, you can go to the management option here, and then you have this option called profiles. You can create the complete profile, guys. Okay, I'm not going to restrict myself with Wi-Fi, but if you'd like to create a complete profile for the Windows 10 machine, you can go here, put up a name for your profile, say test training, continue. So in here, as I said, you can create the complete profile. So I'm going to go with the Wi-Fi here. So in here, you have the option to put up the Wi-Fi setting. Simple example, I'm going to use this as Corp Wi-Fi, the SSID name, and then I'm going to use the security type as WPA2 PSK, and the password for my Wi-Fi profile. I'm going to say as, there you go, I've entered it. And then once I save this, I can associate this profile, the test training profile, to a group of device or a single device, guys. So I can go here under the group and devices, similar to the custom group that I showed you guys earlier. You have the ability to create your own groups here as well. So in this group, you have this option called action button, and in here you can say associate profile. Select the group. Select the group here, and then click on associate profile. Right? You can associate this profile to a group of device or a single device as well. You can go to the device tab, select the device, and then associate this profile. This Wi-Fi profile will be distributed to the client machines. Now in here, you might ask me, this is for Windows 10 machines, but what if I have like Windows 8, 8.1, even Windows 7 machines in my network? We recommend you to upgrade, but say you have this OS managing within your network. Do we have an option to distribute Wi-Fi profiles? Yes, guys. So you can do this under this configuration option here, and you have this option called Wi-Fi under the configuration Wi-Fi, and then you can create your Wi-Fi profile to distribute to all the other operating systems as well, except Windows XP. Okay. So you have the ability to distribute Wi-Fi profiles to all the machines, including the modern operating systems. Hope the explanation is clear. If you have any questions, requesting again to use the chat window to get your answers. Now, let's quickly look through the Desktop Central architecture, guys. As I said, Desktop Central supports both on-prem as well as cloud. And if it's on-prem, there's two type of architecture. One is within the LAN, the other one is WAN, like work from home users, like you're going to manage the users outside the LAN. This is the typical architecture, guys. So let's say you have Desktop Central server within your network. You have the ability to sync with your Active Directory, and you can access the console within your network itself. And you can manage endpoints within the network. Now, if let's say you have multiple branches, say you have an office in London, and let's say in London office has around like 50 machines. Now these machines are within the office, so they're not going to move anywhere. Instead of having all the 50 machines connect my main server directly to collect any data, I can also place a distribution server. This is the component that I mentioned in the beginning, guys. So distribution server is a component again, which can be installed on any Windows machine. This component will act like a distribution point. So this component, will replicate the data from the Desktop Central server. Once it is replicated, it will push to those local machines, right? So you can have both branch office scenario as well as roaming users. You can have the end users directly connect to my main Desktop Central server. Okay. Now, if it's a Desktop Central is also supported for closed infrastructure. If you're having very tight environment, and if you'd like to do patching within this network, we do support that. There's a small URL at the bottom of the screen. Kindly use this URL. We have step-by-step instructions and more in-depth detail on how you can manage endpoints within a restricted environment. Right? And as I said, Desktop Central can be on the cloud. So we also support Azure and AWS Marketplace, as well as Desktop Central is available in our own Zoho Cloud. Now, some of the frequently asked questions. First one, how can we identify the security status of the machines in my network? I hope you might remember this option. Remember, guys, I've shown this option under the inventory section, computers, and then you can click a computer name here. Sorry, I'll go back here. Inventory, computers, and then my computer name, and then security tab. In here, you can find the security information. But if you say, I'm not going to go to each individual machines to look at this, we have canned reports. So you can go to the inventory and inventory reports. You can find both antivirus details as well as BitLocker details. So you can fetch all this information as a report too. And then, does the prohibit software feature blocks web browser plugins as well? Guys, no. This prohibit software functionality, which I showed you guys under the inventory section, does not block the web plugins or extension. But for that, we have another add-on called browser security. Using this browser security option, you can manage, Windows extension, browser extensions, plugins, or anything related to browsers. Okay, URL restrictions, download restrictions, everything will be managed under this browser add-on. Question number 3. Shared directories with write access is a security threat. Can we identify them? You certainly can, guys. So you can, again, it's going to be a simple option for you guys. We've made all these options very user friendly. So you can go to this inventory report, and then you have this option called share details. You can fetch this as a report. You can find the machine's name, what share it has, what permission it has, everyone, or for administrator or specific user. Everything will be shown here for you. Same can be exported as a report too. Question number 4. I wanted to identify the computers with local administrator's account. Is this possible? Yes, it is possible. You have the ability to get a report again. You can go to inventory section, inventory report, and then you have this option called system group users, and then you have the option to choose which domain that you want to find this the account. So I'm going to choose the local account within my domain equals to the administrator, and you can generate this report. This is going to show you the administrator accounts used. Guys, I'm going to skip the some of the questions because we do have live question and answering sessions right now. So I'm going to go with that live answering question and answer session. Sorry about that. I have to skip these questions because we have only limited time. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, James. That was a wonderful session. Are you able to hear me, James?
I can very well hear you, Santosh. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for everyone for joining the session. We would like to answer the questions live at the moment. So if you have questions, please feel free to post it on the chat. We will be able to answer your queries live, right? I'm going to wait for a few more minutes, and I will go ahead and start the question and answer session. Right. James, are you able to view the screen?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Thanks, James. Okay, let's go to the Q&A section to see if we can pick up some of the questions and answer it live. One of the questions where I did not see Oracle Linux on the list supported operating systems, probably we did not add it on the list on the presentation slide. Apologies on that, but we do support it. In case you require more information, we can get in touch with you about what are the different operating systems that we support. We do support Oracle Linux as well, right? In case you need more information, just ping it on chat. We should be able to get in touch with you. So cloud and on-prem edition, the difference. So when it comes to inventory, we do not have any differences. Since this is, yes, we do have differences in cloud edition and in the on-prem edition of Desktop Central. But when it comes to asset management, we do not have any differences as of now. We on-prem and the cloud, the versions are the same. So you don't have to worry about inventory, but if you have specific questions on other modules, we should be able to get a one-on-one session and discuss with you. And one more question is about the architecture. So we do not have time on asset management to discuss more on the architecture side. If you'd like to know more on how the product works, the agent installation and things like that, you can register for the upcoming trainings, which is onboarding setup. So we should be able to, guide you through the agent installation, give you more insights on it. Please watch out for the onboarding session that's going to come. And the security add-ons are not available on cloud at the moment. One other question is related to the license that they have purchased in Asset Explorer and ServiceDesk Plus. Keep in mind that Asset Explorer and ServiceDesk Plus is moving towards the single agent concept, while we have not, we do not have all the applications of Manage Engine under one agent at the moment. We do not have it, but this is a step moving towards that, where we have made Asset Explorer and ServiceDesk Plus and Desktop Central. All these three will have single agent, Manage Engine agent, which will do the job. So from ServiceDesk Plus or from Asset Manager, when you migrate for the existing customers, you will be able to
First, we lost Santosh here. Sorry, guys.
I'm
Probably
sorry.
because of the time. Thanks, Santosh, for coming back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it got muted. I'm not sure why, but anyway, I was talking about the Asset Explorer and ServiceDesk Plus agent, right? Single agent should be enough, and you don't require desktop central licenses for it. And when you are in Asset Explorer on ServiceDesk Plus, you should be able to deploy the agent or replace the agent automatically, right? And do we support iPads? Yes, we do support iPads as well. iOS, Android, Apple TVs, Chromebooks, Windows, Mac, and Linux flavors as well, right? So there are a couple of questions that's related to the operating systems. To answer them, if it's a custom operating system, we would like to get in touch with you and see how we can support it. Yes, we do work with customers on that front as well. If it's regarding to specific operating system, I believe I can arrange one-on-one sessions for those customers specifically, right? So Macs are supported to workgroup domain Y. I think Mac will be listed in a domain name called macOS group, but then it will be a work group. But if you'd like to join it to a domain, we can do that as well. Can we get the recording of the session? Absolutely. We will be emailing you the recording as well as the presentation once the webinar is over. Probably in the next couple of days, you should be getting that. All right, I think we are running out of time, so I think most of the questions are already either answered. If your question is not answered, please feel free to stay with us for next few minutes. We should be able to answer it on the chat. I do have a couple of people answering it live. So for the rest of you guys, thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you guys. Please do rate this training on a scale of 5, where 5 being the best. And the next training schedule is going to be on remote control or remote management on September 22nd. Please do join, mark the date and join for the webinar. If you'd like to have any personalized demo for any of our products with Manage Engine, please get in touch with us. We should be able to give you demonstration. With that, thank you very much for the session. Thank you for joining us. See you on the next session. This is from Santosh and James. Thank you all. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.